Somewhere in the Australian outback, a boy is dragged from his mother's arms, screaming, by masked men he has never seen before. He is told, "You are going to die," and in a very real sense, he does. This is not a horror story. This is the oldest science of transformation humanity has ever invented. And according to one of the 20th century's most controversial and brilliant scholars of religion, it is the key to understanding what it even means to become human. His name was Mircea Eliade, Romanian-born, trained in Sanskrit in Calcutta, professor at the University of Chicago. He spent decades mapping something most modern people have completely forgotten: initiation. Not the word in the casual sense. He meant something far more ancient, far more violent, and far more precise. Eliade's central argument, developed across hundreds of examples from Aboriginal Australia to ancient Greece to medieval Christianity, was radical. You cannot become fully human without dying first. In nearly all the traditional societies he examined, the passage from child to adult required a symbolic death, not metaphorical, ritually experienced. The terror was real. The darkness was real. The separation was absolute. The boy who went in never came back out. Only a man did. Now, Eliade's vision was incomplete. He was a scholar of his time, looking at these traditions through Western eyes. He idealized what he called archaic man. He underrepresented women's rights, and he tended to flatten radically different cultures into a single grand theory. These are real limitations. We'll hold them alongside the insight, because the insight is still extraordinary. Eliade identified three great categories of initiation. Three doors into the sacred. The first, puberty rites. Mandatory for every member of the tribe, without exception. Among the Cuchulainn of southeastern Australia, initiates were carried on men's shoulders, arms raised toward the sky, offered to the heavens. Among the Uteums, boys were placed before roaring fires and told to stare into the flame without flinching. Bull roarers, ancient instruments that split the air with an unearthly sound, announced the arrival of supernatural beings. The women wept. They believed their sons were being devoured. They were right, in every way that mattered. The sacred ground prepared for these rites was, in Eliade's reading, an imago mundi, a replica of the cosmos at the moment of its creation. When the ritual began, mythic time collapsed into the present. The initiates didn't reenact a story. They stepped into it. The god was not a memory. He was there, the second door, secret societies, the Männerbunde of ancient Germany, the quacudal dancing brotherhoods of the Pacific Northwest, African leopard cults. Entry required passing through escalating layers of terror, knowledge, and transformation. The secrets guarded were not passwords. They were cosmologies. The third, shamanic initiation, the most extreme of all. Here the candidate was chosen by spirits, not by their own will. They experienced visions of their own dismemberment, flesh stripped from bones, organs counted, the skeleton rebuilt with sacred substances. Among Siberian shamans, this visionary ordeal lasted months. Upon return, the shaman was not the same person. They had died. In the only sense their culture recognized. The central symbol of all initiation, Eliade argued, was not death. It was the womb. To die is to return. To return is to be reborn. The initiatory hut, across dozens of cultures, is described as the belly of a monster, the darkness of a cave, the womb of the earth. The boy enters as a child. The man emerges as if born again, and this second birth is considered more real, more essential than the biological one. This theme, Regressus et uterum, the return to the origin, appears everywhere, in forms almost too diverse to believe. In Hindu Diksha ceremonies, the initiate is symbolically enclosed in a golden embryo, a Hiranyagarbha, and reconstituted as a new being. In Finnic myth, the hero Vainamoinen travels into a giant's belly, forges iron armor in the darkness, and emerges transformed. In medieval European alchemy, the adept must re-enter the womb of the primal mother to unlock immortality. And here, Eliade makes a quiet admission his critics often overlook. Women's initiation follows the same deep structure: menstruation ceremonies, birth mysteries, the goddess rites of Eleusis, death and rebirth in sacred darkness, the same architecture, a different body, a different tradition. It is, as Eliade himself notes, another story, one that deserves its own full telling, not a footnote, the message that crosses all of them. To be reborn, you must first unbecome. Not all initiation was stillness. Some was forged in fury. The Norse berserkrs, Odin's legendary warriors, were not born that way. They were made. An initiate donned a wolf skin or bear skin. He became the animal. His humanity dissolved into sacred rage. In Old Germanic, this was called wut. In Old Irish, ferg. In Homer, menos. Across every Indo-European warrior tradition, the same experience: a holy, unbearable heat rising from inside the body. The Irish hero Cuchulainn, after killing 3 undefeatable enemies in single combat, burned so intensely that 3 cauldrons of cold water were needed to cool him. His skin smoked, his hair stood rigid as iron nails, a flame rose from his brow. This was not violence, this was sacrum, a holiness made unbearable. Eliade traces this current into the great world religions. In the Eleusinian Mysteries of ancient Greece, a ceremony that continued for nearly 2,000 years, initiates descended into a sacred darkness, experienced something that could not be spoken, and emerged, changed forever. Sophocles wrote that those who witnessed the mysteries were 3 times blessed at death. We don't know exactly what happened at Eleusis. Eliade argues we don't need to. The structure speaks for itself. Descent, dissolution, return. In early Christianity, baptism as ritual drowning, full immersion, held under, released. Death and resurrection as cosmological blueprint. The initiate dies with Christ, rises as a new being, with a new name, carrying a new world inside them. The Eleusinian Mysteries were closed by imperial decree in 392 CE. Christian initiation gradually became a ceremony of weeks rather than a crisis of the soul. The sacred darkness, compressed, formalized, administered, and then something deeper was lost. Eliade ends his book with a question he doesn't fully answer. What happens to a civilization that abandons initiation? The need doesn't disappear. It goes underground. The hunger for ordeal, for transformation, for the right to call oneself truly changed. It deforms. It finds substitutes, not always safe ones. These are still living traditions. The Bora ceremonies of Aboriginal Australia still take place. Cuchulainn winter ceremonies still happen. Siberian shamanic practice never fully died. Eliade's mistake was to speak of them in the past tense, as data points in a lost world. They are not lost. They are ongoing, breathing, carefully guarded. What is lost, perhaps, is the culture that surrounds them. The shared understanding that a human being must be unmade before they can be made. What does it cost to become who you are? What must die in you for something real to live? Every culture that has lasted long enough to leave a trace asked this question. Most of them built elaborate, terrifying, beautiful answers. We are still waiting to ask it. I am waiting for your questions in the comments. Please like and share.